Hey guys, it's Vin from XYZ Fitness Industry. This is the second episode of the Push Pull Pedal series. We're going to talk about bikes. What kind of bike is going to fit your type of riding and riding style, and just accommodate where you guys are at, including budget as well. So let's start talking about bikes. Maybe you should start with a hybrid bike like this, or maybe you feel more comfortable on a track bike like this, or maybe you like a single speed or a fixie like this one. Or maybe you want to go for a road bike, plenty of gears, maybe more of that retro style like this one because this thing's from the 80s. Or maybe you want a tri-bike, which I realize I've converted to a road bike because I love the geometry of it and I love this style of bike. Old school, we're really pushing the envelope of what was aerodynamic. It needs some work though, it's not done. But maybe a triathlon bike. Or maybe you want to custom build your own, where you paint your own frame, decide what kind of structure you want, maybe like this, a bike for the velodrome. Don't judge my paint job, okay? I thought it was cool at the time. I was like 25. And as my father-in-law would call it, my longer weenie bike. So choosing the right bike for you can be a little difficult, sometimes daunting. At first, I remember when I first started riding, I was like, a bike is a bike. And then you realize there's subclasses in the bike. And then you realize those subclasses have subclasses. And then it gets a little tricky from there. So I'm going to try and break it down as simply as possible so you can get on a bike and just enjoy riding. Thinking back about when I got into cars. And I'm going to make a lot of car analogies because I think this is going to resonate with a few of you. Hopefully a lot of you. And I hope it makes sense. Now, before we start getting into it, I really want to reiterate is the best bike is the one that you want to ride. Now, I found there's like 3 things that really make you want to ride a bike. One is it's pretty. That thing is gorgeous. You look at it and you're like, yeah, I want to ride that. Ooh, pause. The second is because it's fun. It's one of those bikes that urges you to get out and ride, whether it's ride aggressive, ride fast, or shredding through the city streets. I don't recommend you do. It's illegal for the way I'm going to describe it here in a second. No, I'm not even going to bring it up. You fixies know what's up. Or maybe it's just exploring gravel, the mountains, and just exploring different places of your state. And third, it's because it's comfortable. If you ride an uncomfortable bike, it sucks. You don't want to ride. Now, there's 2 different forms of what I think would be comfortable. One is it's comfortable that you can kind of sit on it, relax, and then you go enjoy your ride. The other one is it's comfortable in the most aggressive position that you can get into. But I think those are the 3 main reasons. And if you disagree, pop it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, so let's just get right into it now. Remember, this list is designed for people who are just kind of getting into the sport of cycling. So all my roadies and all my people who've been biking for a long time, this can still apply to you, but keep in mind this is designed to simplify the process as much as possible. So don't judge me too hard here, okay? But I did find that when you're choosing your riding style, this can kind of be broken up into, I guess, 3 styles. And that'll help you choose what bike works best for you, especially right now in the starting phases. First, riding style. If you are more on the fitness or commuter side, and I feel like a lot of the people who tend to visit this channel are going to be around this range, will probably fit in this category. And I think this is the best place to start, if I'm being honest. This is where I started. Now, the fitness and commuter style of riding, think of this more, and like I said before, I'm going to make a lot of analogies coming back to cars, okay? And I think it translates in the easiest way possible. All right, for the fitness and commuter style, I think this comes down into probably 3 recommendations that I have. One is the hybrid bike. Think of this like your sedans, your Honda Accords, your Toyota Camrys, your Nissan Altimas. They get you from point A to point B, relatively reliable. You can speed if you want, but don't kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? But they're very well robust. They don't require crazy amounts of maintenance or tricky things that kind of go into it like other bikes would. The next is going to be an e-bike. Now, these are a bit more expensive on the top of the list. So take that with, a grain of salt. Or if it applies to you, great. Think of these like your Teslas, your Toyota Priuses. They're the assisted format. They allow you to kind of drive or ride, in this case, with a little bit of assistance. They help you kind of get going or maintain a higher speed. So if you're getting new into biking, and you want to ride with a group, for example, but you know they're faster than you, this can be a great way into it because it allows you to kind of keep up at a higher speed while still getting some fitness level in there. Now, the technology that's coming out for e-bikes is steadily advancing, and I'm hoping we're getting to that spot where we can do conversions for hybrid bikes. We do have them out there, but they're expensive, so I don't think they're applicable for everyone just yet. So last, but certainly not least on this list, is the fixie/single speed. Now, this is where my heart lies. Now, if there's any recommendation I'm going to give, it's this one. That fixie/single speed bike, it is the lowest cost of entry in my opinion. They don't even require a lot of maintenance because they don't have gears. There's no shifters, there's no derailleur, nothing. You have maybe some brake pads you have to change out every once in a while, and a chain, tires if you puncture them, but I mean, the maintenance is so low. This is the one where I would recommend most people to start. You don't have to think about it. You just jump on your bike, ride. Now, there's definitely limitations to it. Figuring out your gear ratio can be tricky. Most people can be just fine with anything under 3.0, which I can explain if we want to do a fix-it video, but the gear ratio that comes on these bikes is fine for most people. Now, I haven't given any recommendations yet on any specific bikes, but if I were this one, just go to State Bicycle. There's other ones online where are slightly cheaper, but the frames are so heavy. They come assembled funky. I started my cycling life here. My first bike was, what was it? Corolla, which is like a nice steel El Toro bike. And it had this beautiful red metallic finish, which I wish you can bring back. That was one of those beautiful ones where I'm like, man, that bike is dope. And I rode that for years. This is one of those that if you're going to get into it, I feel this is the place to start. Okay, let's move on to the next riding style. Now, if you want to go on the road and you want to go fast, if speed is your thing, this is what we're talking about. Now, on this one, I broke it up into 5 different categories because it has its own subclass. Road bikes aren't just road bikes anymore. They have different divisions, and I'm going to explain that right now. If you're going to do road bike, I recommend most people start with an enduro bike, which is just an endurance bike. They have a slightly more relaxed geometry. They're very cush, very comfortable to ride, and you get good speed out of it. I compare this to the luxury sports sedans. I'm talking the Giulia Alfa Romeo, the GS350 from Lexus, the TLX from Acura, the M5 from BMW. You know what I'm talking about. It goes down the list, but this is that class right there. The next on the list is all-road. Think of these like your SUVs because they're designed to go on the road and you can kind of hit a little bit of off-road. Soft gravel, maybe some hard gravel, not necessarily mountain riding, but they allow you to kind of go off-road a little bit or go in some terrain that is a bit more rough. This gives you a little bit more cushion, a little bit more relaxed. The geometry is also very similar to an enduro bike, where it gets you in a bit more comfortable and upright riding position so you don't feel like you're getting absolutely destroyed on the bike. I would correlate these to like the Subaru Outbacks, the Jeep, the 4-door Jeep one, because not really can go off-roading with that one. I mean, you could, but this is where like you can comfortably do both. All right, next are climbing bikes. It's hard to know you're a climber until you go and climb. Some people love it. I am a heavy dude. I cannot do climbing bikes. And the reason is pretty simple. Climbing bikes in general are very lightweight because you have to lug a bike and yourself up a hill at a high gradient. So they need to be lighter weight. Think of these as like the Pikes Peak climbing cars. Now, I'm a big dude, so lightweight bikes are fun, but the risk of me breaking something is just too high. And I've already broken quite a few components on other bikes. I've broken the rear fork on bikes. I wish I kept that bike so I can show you. I've broken some handlebars. You know what? I think I have them still. Let me go find them. It doesn't look like I have it here in this garage. I kept them as a memento, but I think they're in my other house. If I find a picture, I'll put it up later on Instagram. You can follow me at XYZ Fitness Industry. I think that's it for all the social media platforms. I don't know. I'm primarily just on Instagram and YouTube. Now I'm on YouTube. All right, next category is race bikes. These have their own style, but think of them more like your aero performance style road bikes. Now, these things are designed to be aerodynamic. They slice through the wind and they're designed to handle very well. Think of these like your sports cars, your Porsches, your Lotuses, your Ferraris, your Lamborghinis. You know what I'm saying? So Go down that list. These ones, these are your race bikes. These are your race cars here. Now, this last category, I kind of fell more in love with as I started collecting and having more bikes. This is the vintage style bikes. I love that classic style. I love steel frames, old steel frames, where they're like lugged. And as you can see from right here, I rebuilt this old bike from the 80s. It's old school carbon technology, so it's not as advanced as what we have today, but she rides beautifully. She has carbon tubing and aluminum lugs, and I've retrofitted it with a bunch of newer components, but I'll make another video on this bike specifically. Now, these vintage bikes, think of them as like your old classics, where you combine performance and beauty, and that's where I sit with these vintage ones, because it can be old and doesn't mean it's like a good vintage bike, you know what I'm saying? Now I think about it, most of my bikes are vintage bikes. I got this one, and even my Aero BP Stealth that I converted into a road bike, that's also kind of a vintage bike. That's not even, you know what's crazy about that? It's not even, I don't even think it's UCI legal, because they have rules about how aerodynamic a bike frame is supposed to be. So I don't think technically you can ride that bike in a race. It's too good. Now there's another bike that I really, really want, and is that Lotus bike. Oh my God. I don't care if they make it a tri-bike or as a road bike or as a fixie or whatever it is. I want that frame so bad. All right, so if road and speed is more up your alley, this is what you're looking for. But let's go into the last category. Last category is sport specific. Now, these are a little tricky because there might be some crossover on, you know, what can be done with these ones. Can you do them for anything? Sure, a bike's a bike. It's got two wheels, you can go. But they're designed for a very specific purpose, and that's why they're so sport specific. First on the list is a trick bike. These are your BMXs, right? Think of these as like, you're doing bunny hops, you're jumping over shit, you're going off of ramps, you're doing all the cool stuff, right? Stuff that I wish I could do. Now think of these as like your stunt driver. Cars specifically designed with roll cages so that you can do crazy stuff like flips and sliding through turns and whatever, right? So they're designed to get bashed and destroyed because you're gonna get damaged. Next is mountain bikes. Now they have their own set of disciplines. You have mountain bikes and then you have downhill bikes. So I'm not going to go in, I'm going to lump them all in one together just to simplify this video a little bit. Now think of these as your four-wheelers going off-road and stuff, okay? So you're designed to go on mountain trails. You can go on the dirt, you can go on gravel, you can go uphill, you can go downhill, you can hit rocks, you can jump on shit. Now if you have ever seen downhill riders, they are some of the most skilled people I have ever seen in my life. And kudos to you guys, because holy cow, you guys have some massive set of butt. All right, and we have cyclocross. This is designed to be like riding through mud, jumping over obstacles. And I know it sounds very similar to the mountain trick, but they're designed more for speed. Think of them as rally cars, okay? You're going through mud, you're sliding across things, you're jumping over shit, and the goal is fast. You're not there to have fun. Well, kind of. It is fun, but it takes a lot of skill, and I feel like it's this crazy combination of road bike, trick bikes, and mountain bikes, where it all combined into one dope sport. Now, the bikes for cyclocross, though, a lot of people think they're the most versatile because they can do a little bit of everything, but they're not very comfortable to ride on the road. Bottom bracket's a little too high because they're designed to go over obstacles, so they're a little bit higher. It makes it very stiff and uncomfortable to ride for a lot of people. So if you want one bike to do it all, maybe an all-road bike or a gravel bike. All right, and one that I have a lot of respect for too is time trials or TT bikes, or even your triathlons. These TT bikes are designed for one thing, and it is speed, and it is just maintaining a high speed for as long and as fast as possible. Think of these as like your land speed record cards, right? They are so crazy looking that when you look at these bikes, they look like from another dimension. They don't even look like bikes anymore. They look like some weird morphed aerodynamic knife that's designed to just slice through the wind, and they are cool looking. I love those bikes. Clearly, I've converted like 4 tri-bikes to road bikes or fixed gear bikes. So I've had a lot of people give me shit about that. I converted an old tri-bike. It was a Felt S32. it was like a triathlon bike, and I converted to like a fixie. People were like, it doesn't have the right geometry, you can't ride that. And I'm like, I love the way that bike felt. It was responsive because I kept some of the things a little bit shorter to give it more of like a tighter feel or cornering. But it also, when I was at speed going just straight, that thing just held speed. And I don't know what it was, but I got so comfortable in like that really tight aero position, and I was just flying on that bike. I wish I kept it. Speaking of fixies and what I built, the last one on this list is Velodrome. Now, I've talked about single speed and fixies track bikes. This is more of a track bike. It is, think of it like NASCAR. You have one big loop, and your goal is hit that shit for as fast as possible within certain laps. Now, you can race with people. I think it's super, super fun. If you've ever seen a track cyclist and their quads, that was goals. That's actually one of the reasons I started biking, because I wanted big ass legs. And for all the squats that I've done, I still believe my biggest quad growth and development was from cycling, and it was from those hard sprints. My legs blew up from cycling. So if you want big old quads, put some power down, man. Or Lassie, you know what I'm saying? Just ride, put power down. Now that I've talked about the riding styles and the bikes that are correlated with them, let's talk pricing. Okay, let's move over to the computer where we can give some actual recommendations here and some price points to stay around. Now, if we're looking at the fitness and commuter side, staying right around that $500 to $1,000 range is probably my best recommendation. You can usually stay right around $500 to $600. But like I said, for this range, let's stay right around $5,000 to $1,000. That's a great place to start. And then for road bikes, anywhere between $1,000 to honestly $3,000, you can be in an amazing place. And then we're just gonna skip the sports specific category because that just requires so much nuance depending on yourself, where you're at in the sport. So we're gonna kind of take that one because most people that are starting here will not be in that range. So let's get it started. All right, the first bike on the list is the Specialized Sirius X 1.0. Now, for the hybrid bike, this is the bike I recommend. I actually got this bike. This is the bike I bought for my wife, and it is on sale for $550. Usually it's $700, so it stays right around our range, but it's a great buy. This is a bike that you can easily just ride for years, and you can just catapult with this and then ride with a group and get really, really fast on it. And this can take you a really long way. So I do believe this one right here is the best buy. And I've used Specialized for years. And like I said, my wife loves it, and she is not a biker. So this is a great place to start. If you're new, just jump on this one. Okay, now let's talk about e-bikes. The Aventon, whatever, however you want to call it, the Solterra 2.5 e-bike. Now, what's nice about this one is it actually looks like a hybrid bike. So it doesn't look all funky. I've seen a lot of e-bikes where they just, I don't know, they have that weird look. They feel chunky, they look heavy. This just looks like a regular hybrid bike, but in that tube, it has a battery that allows you to power and give you some assistance for under $1,200. This is on sale right now for $1,000. This is a great buy. Now, I know $1,000 is a big sticker shock, but like I said, it's designed to help you bridge a gap with riding or even for commuting. So this is a great buy. All right, and the single speed and fixed gear side, like I said, State Bicycle is the way to go for under $500. This one right here is their core line for $375, which is under $400. Is on sale right now. You get plenty of customizations, different color frames, different wheel shapes and sizes. You can adjust the handlebars to whatever it is you're feeling, and the maintenance is so low. This is, if you're going to start biking, I recommend most people start here because the maintenance is practically nothing. You just jump on and you go, and it's a much lower cost to entry than pretty much everything else on here. But I do say that if you're going to go State, instead of doing their core line, I would recommend spend a little bit more and go for the 4130 series, which is just a nicer version of the steel. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more compliant, great to ride with. It is one of those that you can have this bike and you can keep it for practically forever, and it ages beautifully. So like I said, if you were, I recommend just spend a little bit more and get for the 4130 and then keep that bike for a long time. All right, let's get into road bikes. Now, like I said, most people should start in the enduro or the endurance bike because it's more lax geometry. It's a little bit more comfortable. You can even see that top tube is a little bit angled up, which allows you to sit a bit more upright. Now for here, if you're going in the road bike and speed section, anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000 is a sweet spot. Now I know that seems like a lot because kind of is. If you go in the secondhand market, you will get much better bang for your buck, but it does require a little bit more know-how. If you're looking brand new, which is what we're talking about today, the Endurance all-road from Canyon for $1,400, $1,500 without the sale. And the reason this is an endurance and all-road, like I said, their geometry is very similar. Now the difference between it is just having bigger seat stays and forks to allow for beefier tire clearance. Now the nice thing is this kind of gives you both. And if you're gonna do one, I do recommend the Canyon. Speaking of all-road, the Fuji Jari 2.5 is also a fantastic buy for just under $1,000. You can even use this as what would be your enduro bike. It just looks a little funky because you would usually run skinnier tires if you're going to run it more on the road. This one's designed a little bit more for gravel, so you can still do it on the road, and it does have a lot of clearance for those bigger beefy tires. So if you live in a place that has rough terrain and in your commute you kind of got to go through a little bit of forest, gravel, dirt, or whatever, this is a fantastic buy. And between the two, I go back and forth. I do love Fuji. I've had a lot of their bikes in the past. This is a great buy. Can't go wrong. Here we go. This is where we're going to start talking about a bit more specific. This is a climbing bike. Climbing bikes are designed to be light. So with that comes more technology. That also means a steeper price tag. Now the Team Machine SLR4 from BMC, I think is one of the best buys if you're going to be a climber and you're kind of starting out. To give you reference, you can very easily spend $12,000 to $15,000 on a climbing bike. So if we can find one right now for under $3,500, this is a fantastic buy. This is also a bike that you can just run and ride as a road bike. I think it's fantastic, but because of how lightweight it is a fantastic climbing bike, and for its value, it's pretty good. Even coming in with the Shimano 105s, which would be, even though considered entry-level group set, it's fantastic because of how much their technology has trickled down to this day and age. Now, I know we don't know much about group sets here, but I will probably make a video talking about that later if we ever do a full bike build out. All right, now let us talk about race bikes. Like I said, these are your Ferraris, these are your Lamborghinis, your Porsches. Now, when I talk about these, keep that in the back of your mind because this bad boy is coming in at just under $15,000. But like I said, this is a race bike. You will see these bikes in the Tour de France. So yeah, they're kind of amazing. They look amazing. They handle phenomenally and they're just fast. But keep that in the back of your mind because that is a huge sticker shock. But if you're going to start racing and you have those deep pockets, grab yourself a Colnago. They have huge race heritage and you just can't go wrong. Okay, last on the list is going to be those vintage road bikes. Now there's a lot of different ways you can get with this. Is you can buy them old and keep them running just how they are. Some people restore them. Some people do a neo retro build, which is take this old bike and you put newer components on it, which is what I did. Now there's no direct price range to stay within here because you can get one that someone doesn't know the value of the bike for a couple $100, $100, $200, and you can find them on OfferUp, eBay, whatever. But you will also see ones that are like this in that pristine condition where they look beautiful. They have been restored and they can easily go for a few thousand and up. Just like this DeRosa. Like I said, it has that classic style. Just look at this thing. It is beautiful and you cannot deny how gorgeous it looks and how timeless it looks. No matter what day and age, this will always be one of those classic looks. So it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, what's the price range, right? Now, can it compete with newer technology bikes now? No, But like I said, it is a classic bike. Speaking of which, this is the bike I got. Well, not this one specifically, but it kind of looked like this. What I did was I got this old retro bike, and it is, in my opinion, I think it's beautiful. I love that it's carbon fiber. It has very old school technology. It has carbon tubes, which are glued, yes, glued into aluminum lugs, which is those little purple spots right there. The group set is old. So what I did was I tore all that stuff off. I put some newer components on there. So I guess it is technically a neo retro build, and I brought it into the 21st century because this bike is from the 1980s, late 1980s. It's been riding fantastic. The next video, I will actually go over how I built this bike. Maybe not the next video. I might have to do some workout and training videos first before I publish that one, but it just depends. So stay tuned. We'll go over those bikes, and hopefully these recommendations were helpful for you guys to find a bike that would work for you guys. Let me know in the comments if they're helpful, and if you feel like I was way off base, or you feel like there's a better recommendation for one of these categories, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Let everyone else know, and let's just build this community where we can lift and ride together. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one. Thank you for staying tuned. Laters.